I welcome you to this session of ISO 9001 2015. Today we are going to discuss clause number 9.2.2 under internal audit. So, as usual, first of all, I'll read out the requirement to you as given in the standard. Clause 9.2.2, the organization shall A. Plan, establish, implement, and maintain an audit program, including the frequency, methods, responsibilities, planning requirements, and reporting, which shall take into consideration the importance of processes concerned, changes affecting the organization, and the results of previous audits. B. Define the audit criteria and scope for each audit. And C. Select auditors and conduct audits to ensure objectivity and the impartiality of the audit process. D. Ensure that the results of the audits are reported to relevant management. E. Take appropriate correction and corrective actions without undue delay. And F. Retain documented information as evidence of the implementation of the audit program and the audit results. And there is a note, see ISO 19011 for guidance. This standard is actually providing the guidance on how to carry out the audits. So let us discuss this requirement in more detail and try to understand each requirement. See, para A of this requirement says that the organization has to plan, establish, implement, and maintain an audit program. So plan means this has to be planned out on the basis of the available procedures, and if procedures are not there, procedures have to be put in place. So there has to be a procedure on how we are going to plan and implement and maintain the audit program. So first of all, there has to be a procedure on this aspect of how the internal audits shall be carried out, at what intervals, and all details pertaining to the internal audit should be included in the procedure. Second is establish. This procedure has to be established. Established means it has to be in place for compliance. That means it has to be available with every auditor and every auditee. Rather, I would say with the entire staff, all HODs, all staff members, because anyone can be audited. So the procedure has to reach everybody, and they have to understand the requirement of this clause. And then implement it. That means implement the procedure. According to the procedure, whatever guideline is provided there, the audit is to be planned and then carried out. Now the audit procedure has to be maintained, and maintain an audit program. You have to maintain the procedure. That means you have to ensure that it remains updated at all times and available to the people in a good condition so that they can use the procedure. And the audit program, once made on the basis of this, it has to include the frequency, at what frequency the audit shall be carried out. The normal frequency, according to my experience, is 6 monthly. But depending on your requirement, you can even keep it monthly or quarterly or annually, or as you think is suitable for your organization. So the frequency of the audit has to be decided by the organization the management of the organization, and the methods and responsibilities, how the audit shall be carried out. Normally, it has to be carried out as per the guidance provided in 19011. ISO 19011, as you know, is the guidance standard for carrying out any kind of audit. So it has to be based on that, and the responsibilities for planning the requirements and reporting the audit, it has to be fixed by the management, and accordingly the audit has to be planned by the concerned person. Normally it is the system coordinator who plans the audit, and the audit has to take into consideration the importance of the processes concerned. There may be certain processes which need more attention. Maybe those processes need to be audited at a higher frequency, at a better frequency, and changes affecting the organization, if there are any, then they should be reflected in the procedure, and the results of the previous audit, they have also to be reviewed during the audit which is carried out according to the plan. Now we come to B, define the audit criteria and the scope for each audit. See, the audit criteria is whatever is available through which we carry out the audit. For example, the procedures, the work instruction, and the quality manual or Apex manual or whatever, the standards, all these are the audit criteria. Anything which is available for following or for compliance within the organization, that will become part of the audit criteria. And the scope for each audit it could be the physical scope. If you have several sites, then which sites are to be included in a particular audit? So that will decide the scope of the audit. That means the physical boundary of the audit which is to be carried out. And then select the auditors and conduct, it is C, select the auditors and conduct audits to ensure objectivity and impartiality of the audit process. See, the auditors who are chosen, they have to be independent of the audit which is carried out. Suppose a particular division is to be audited, the auditor should not belong to that division, because he cannot be, it is difficult for him to be impartial. So the objective of the audit is that it must be carried out in an impartial manner, and therefore the auditor's selection has to be done accordingly. And they have to conduct the audit to ensure the objectivity and impartiality of the audit process. Objectivity means whatever is the objective of the audit, that has to be fulfilled. What is the scope or the criteria, that has to be followed. And the impartiality of the audit process has got to be maintained. That means the auditors have to remain impartial. They should not be taking side with the auditees or anyone else for that matter. Now D is ensure that the results of the audits are reported to the relevant management. See, normally there is a format in which the audit is recorded. The third party audits and even other audits could be recorded in a notebook. Point by point, you keep on asking questions and keep on noting down the replies which they make. And subsequently, you have to fill up the audit sheet, audit format. See, there is a format in which the formal audit is to be carried out, and that sheet has to be filled up in a proper manner, and that contains the various points which you are asking and what answers the auditees are giving, and whether that is okay or not, that is conforming to the requirement or not, and if not conforming to the requirement, what is the non-conformance, and then the reasons for non-conformance have got to be recorded, and a non-conformance has to be raised, for which again there is another format for recording the non-conformance. So all non-conformances are supposed to be recorded on the proper available format. Now, once this is done, the auditors have to ensure that the results of the audits are reported to the relevant management. The complete audit findings have to be put before the top management or the relevant management who are controlling the system. And E is take appropriate correction and corrective action without undue delay. See, if there is a finding and there are several NCs or one or two NCs or whatever is the outcome, accordingly, that NC you have to take appropriate correction and corrective action. See, there is a difference between correction and corrective action. Correction means correcting the situation at that point of time so that if the record is not there, record is made. But corrective action means taking an action so that the non-conformity will not reoccur. That is corrective action. So correction and corrective action both are supposed to be recorded on the audit format and then retain the documented information. The documented information is supposed to be retained. That means the records of the audits are supposed to be maintained as evidence of implementation of the audit program and the audit results. So the records are very essential. Normally for each para, it's a requirement that whatever compliance you are doing, you are maintaining the records of total compliance, all the compliance that you make. So that's all about this requirement, and please note that there is a guidance standard ISO 19011, and that standard can be referred to understand how the audits are to be planned, how they are to be carried out, and various terms and definitions, the qualification of the auditors. By the way, for internal auditors, the qualification of the auditors is to be decided by the organization, and it is not specified anywhere for the internal auditors. It is not specified in ISO 19011. The organization, and normally the qualification is normal. It's a normal practice that the person should be at least a graduate. He should have good knowledge of the language in which the audit is to be carried out and recorded. Normally, it is carried out in English language because that is prevalent all over India. And they should understand, they should be able to record the audit in a proper manner, which is understandable. See, I have seen in many organizations, the internal audits are very weak in the language and they are not able to record the non-conformance and corrective actions and corrections and all these things in a proper manner. So that should not happen. The organization has to take care that whomsoever they are selecting as auditor, he should be good at language. He should be able to write down the audit proceedings in a correct manner. So that's all about the requirement contained in this element, and I hope you have understood it fully and completely. But if there is anything which is not understood by you, then please give your comment below this audit and I will try to clarify it. And by the way, there is another almost 1 hour long audit video which I had made long back. You can always refer to that, and that explains in very much detail. It's about more than 50 minutes or so, so almost an hour long video, and you should have a look at that video. That provides total guidance, including what are the definitions, how the audit is carried out, what are the various aspects which you should consider, the kinds of audit reactions, auditee reactions, auditors reactions, and there are so many things which I have explained in that video. So if you like, you can refer, and I shall provide a link of that video in the description below so that you can follow it. And please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon so that as and when I load the video will be reaching you well in time. You will get the information that the video has been loaded and you can see it without any delay. And thank you very much. And if you like my video, please do give me a thumbs up, do give me a like, and also share my videos with your friends and colleagues. I'll feel very happy if you do so. Thank you very much. Bye bye and see you.